Je vous laisse donc... Ouais, les hélicos de la Côte d'Azur. Salut à tous, ici Dom pour Culture FPV. Pour ceux qui ne savent pas et qui ne suivent pas le Facebook de la chaîne, et ils ont tort, j'ai été missionné pour aller en Croatie pour représenter donc la chaîne Culture FPV pour l'événement de lancement de la campagne Kickstarter de Orqa, la marque de lunettes, enfin cette nouvelle marque de lunettes FPV qui se lance dans le marché et dans le haut du panier, dans le haut de gamme du panier. Alors cet événement, il avait pour but de présenter la marque et ses lunettes pour le lancement et motiver un maximum de personnes pour investir via Kickstarter dans cette start-up. Le problème, c'est que ce qu'on a pu voir, ça reste un prototype, c'est le même d'ailleurs qui a été présenté lors de la visite de Orqa à Paris. Néanmoins, ce que je vais faire dans cette vidéo, c'est essayer de vous apporter un petit peu toutes les fonctionnalités qui ont été présentées, qu'elles étaient effectives ou qu'elles soient promises, et d'essayer de vous donner un aperçu de cette entreprise via son PDG avec une interview que vous aurez en fin de cette vidéo. Je vais commencer donc par faire un petit tour d'horizon de ces lunettes et on va commencer par le design. Sur le design, c'est vrai qu'elle se démarque particulièrement de ce qui se fait actuellement, à la fois de la grande marque Fat Shark et des autres marques qui ont plus ou moins repris ce design assez arrondi, avec des couleurs claires pour la plupart, noir parfois pour certaines marques, mais personne n'est allé vraiment bousculer ce design plutôt conventionnel. Et là, Orqa arrive en effet avec des lignes plutôt très acérées, un design plus agressif qui s'inspire beaucoup de ce qu'on peut voir sur des marques comme Lamborghini ou même sur des avions furtifs. Sauf que là, vous passerez pas inaperçu justement parce que vous vous démarquez avec ces angles très acérés. Alors, les goûts et les couleurs, forcément, ça se discute. Néanmoins, on peut dire que le design dans cette catégorie-là est plutôt réussi. Ça va dépendre un petit peu des visages, ça va dépendre un petit peu des formes de tête. Certains vont avoir l'impression que ces lunettes sont un petit peu plus volumineuses que des Fat Shark. Pourtant, le volume global annoncé est le même que des Fat Shark. Globalement, moi je les ai trouvées un petit peu plus volumineuses sur mon visage. Mais là encore, ça va dépendre de certains angles et vous verrez sur les vidéos et sur les photos que selon la lumière, selon l'angle dans lequel on les regarde, elles sont parfois un petit peu plus fines. Deuxième catégorie que je voulais aborder, c'était le confort. Et là, les avis sont plutôt unanimes sur le fait qu'elles sont assez confortables. Certains notent des pressions un peu exagérées au niveau de la racine du nez. Moi personnellement, la pression était bien répartie partout, j'avais pas de fuite de lumière, que ce soit en haut ou en bas, et je les ai trouvés aussi confortables que ce que j'ai pu tester jusqu'à présent sur des Fat Shark ou d'autres marques. À savoir que la mousse qu'ils utilisent sont une mousse qui est livrée par une marque qui s'appelle New Drone, avec qui ils sont en partenariat. Et je les ai trouvés vraiment, ces mousses, très confortables. Ça m'a même donné envie de les prendre pour mes Fat Shark. Au niveau de l'ergonomie, et là c'est le gros point positif parce que Orqa a été très à l'écoute de la communauté et de tous les pilotes qui ont eu une expérience déjà avec des Fat Shark, qui font des remarques sur les soucis d'ergonomie. Donc ils ont mis le paquet là-dedans. On pense notamment au bouton Power, on pense notamment au système qui éteint les écrans automatiquement, soit si on pose des lunettes, soit si on les relève au-dessus du front. Les petites molettes d'ajustement pour l'espace interpupillaire sont aussi très bien faites, très pratiques. Ils ont pensé aussi à mettre une bande élastique, ou du moins optionnelle, au-dessus du crâne pour ceux qui voudraient un soutien supplémentaire. Et on a aussi des logements pour les lentilles de vue à ajouter qui sont compatibles donc avec celles qu'on met sur les Fat Shark. Donc toutes ces options ergonomiques sont présentes. On a pu en tester d'autres, ça reste des promesses, mais globalement l'idée c'est vraiment de faire quelque chose qui est équivalent, voire au-delà de ce qui existe chez les meilleurs. Les fonctionnalités, c'est l'autre grosse ambition des Orqa, c'est-à-dire de prendre le meilleur de ce qui se fait, on pense au haut de gamme de Fat Shark, et d'aller plus loin là-dedans et offrir aux pilotes vraiment le nec plus ultra de ce qui existe. Donc je vous ai fait une petite liste des fonctionnalités, elles vont s'afficher sur le côté de l'écran et vous verrez que j'ai mis des petits astérix là où les fonctionnalités n'ont pas pu être testées, et donc ce sont des promesses que Orqa a fait, et il faudra que vous consultiez l'interview à la fin pour savoir si vous êtes susceptible de croire à ces promesses ou pas. Donc dans les fonctionnalités, je commence par celles qui sont un standard maintenant chez Fatshark. Je pense au DVR, je pense au ventilateur, à la possibilité de passer 16/9 ou 4/3. Il me semble que les HDO le font. Les modules Fatshark que l'on peut mettre et enlever, qui sont compatibles avec ceux existants, et notamment le Rapid Fire qui est très populaire. La fonction Head Tracker, une sortie audio, les lentilles, donc les lentilles de vue que l'on peut ajouter, ça je l'ai déjà dit, et l'entrée HDMI. Les fonctionnalités exclusives de Orqa, donc en petite étoile je mettrai celles qui sont promises mais qu'on n'a pas pu tester. Donc il y a l'auto standby, c'est-à-dire le fait que les écrans s'éteignent automatiquement, soit quand vous enlevez les lunettes, soit quand vous les mettez sur le front. Le DVR en haute définition, la connexion par smartphone, qui est selon Orqa une fonctionnalité qui permettra de diffuser en live votre flux vidéo, et aussi de pouvoir jouer sur un simulateur via vos lunettes directement sur votre smartphone. Ils ont promis également un FOV variable, c'est-à-dire un angle de vision, champ de vision qui pourra être variable, et ça c'est permis par des écrans OLED. Des alertes supplémentaires en cas de batterie faible, la détection de l'orientation de la tête qui vous permettra d'éviter d'avoir une antenne directionnelle qui vise vers le bas et de la garder toujours bien positionnée. La qualité, on va d'abord parler de la qualité d'image. Alors la qualité d'image, c'est clairement ce qui a fait l'unanimité parmi tous ceux qui ont pu tester ces lunettes, et je n'ai pas eu de retour de personnes qui trouvaient la qualité mauvaise ou du moins inférieure à ce qui se fait chez Fatshark. Le truc assez bluffant, c'est qu'on arrive à avoir un très large champ de vision qui est équivalent à des HD2, ce que j'ai moi, sans aucun effet de flou sur les bords. Je vous invite à aller voir les nombreuses vidéos qui ont déjà été faites sur le test des Orqa. Il y a eu X qui a fait une vidéo, Finky aussi, et vous verrez que le retour des pilotes est quasiment systématiquement le même. C'est waouh, superbe qualité d'image, pas de flou dans les bords. Nous, sur ce qu'on a pu tester, il y avait une petite anomalie, mais qui n'est vraiment pas rédhibitoire. C'était le fait d'avoir des bords un peu concaves, surtout sur les deux lignes verticales des bords. Rien de rédhibitoire, une fois qu'on pilote, il n'y avait pas de souci particulier. L'autre petit grief qui a été noté, c'était que au niveau des ouvertures juste devant les yeux, qui sont circulaires, il y avait un petit reflet de lumière qui venait des écrans, alors qui est certainement dû à l'impression 3D du plastique qui a été un petit peu brillant. En tout cas, là, il faudra confirmer avec un modèle de production pour savoir si ça se confirme ou pas. En termes de qualité de réception vidéo, honnêtement, j'ai pas vu de différence personnellement avec d'autres lunettes à récepteur équivalent ou à récepteur identique, et je crois que ça a été l'avis général. Et au niveau de l'assemblage, alors on peut pas trop se prononcer sur la qualité d'assemblage. Les prototypes qui nous ont été prêtés en essai étaient très bien assemblés, très bien ajustés. Pour de l'impression 3D, c'était vraiment assez impressionnant. Il y a juste eu quelques boutons, à force d'appuyer dessus, qui se sont un petit peu grippés, mais vraiment rien d'inquiétant en termes de qualité. Et beaucoup se sont posé la question de savoir est-ce que la qualité du plastique restera quelque chose de mauvais ou pas. À savoir que ce que nous a dit le PDG de Orqa, c'est que le plastique c'est vraiment la partie la plus simple à produire, et que eux ont repris un plastique qui est un standard dans l'industrie et qui est utilisé notamment pour les manettes des DJI Mavic. Donc ils nous ont même donné le numéro qui correspondait au plastique industriel. Donc là, honnêtement, pas trop de soucis à se faire à ce niveau-là. Je pense que le point important, ça va être surtout le contrôle qualité, et ça, seules les productions finales nous permettront de savoir si ce contrôle qualité a été bon ou pas. Sur la durée de vie du produit, et ça on sait que c'est un gros point fort des Fatshark, parce que beaucoup de gens les gardent de très nombreuses années sans avoir trop de problèmes, mais là encore c'est un point d'interrogation. Vous le verrez dans l'interview, le PDG nous a affirmé qu'il utilisait des composants de marque renommée, et on pense notamment aux écrans OLED qui sont de la marque Sony, et que tous les autres composants étaient des composants éprouvés, notamment dans l'industrie automobile, et qu'on n'aurait pas de souci à se faire à ce sujet-là. Donc durant le week-end, il y a eu des petits soucis. Rien de rédhibitoire, un écran qui a été un petit peu capricieux, des boutons qui sont un peu enfoncés. Là encore, c'est difficile de vous dire si la production finale sera de qualité irréprochable ou pas. C'est surtout le sérieux en fait de l'entreprise qui va faire la différence. Et ça, vous ferez une idée peut-être en regardant l'interview du PDG. Concernant le prix, il est de 499 € sur Kickstarter. Le prix annoncé en magasin est de 600 € hors promotion, ce qui est à peu près équivalent aux HDO lorsqu'elles sont sorties, à savoir qu'il y aura probablement des promotions, que ce soit par les shops ou par la marque elle-même. La disponibilité, elle est annoncée, donc là je regarde en même temps sur le site de Kickstarter. Donc les premiers batchs sont prévus pour août, deuxième batch pour septembre, et ensuite ce sera probablement en fonction des capacités de production et de la demande. Donc mon bilan sur ces Orqa avec le retour de ce week-end en Croatie, la première chose qui m'est sautée aux yeux, c'est le cas de le dire, c'est vraiment qu'une qualité d'image qui nous a été montrée pour le coup, vraiment démontrée, avec un large champ de vision sans flou sur les bords, et ça on sait que c'est difficile à faire puisque même une grosse marque comme Fat Shark a du mal à le faire. Donc pour le coup, le challenge a vraiment été levé. Pour le reste, c'est-à-dire la durée de vie du produit, les fonctionnalités, le sérieux de l'entreprise, on a quand même une impression de sérieux, une volonté vraiment de faire quelque chose, un produit correct. Ce que je voulais faire, c'est vous présenter ensuite l'interview du PDG, qui vous donnera peut-être une meilleure idée du sentiment qu'on a eu sur les personnes qu'on a rencontrées et de leur sérieux. Et là encore, quelque chose que l'on doit leur reconnaître, c'est une certaine ouverture vis-à-vis de tout ce qu'ils ont fait, puisqu'on a eu droit de rentrer dans leurs locaux. Ils n'ont pas du tout restreint quoi que ce soit dans leurs locaux, ils nous ont vraiment tout présenté, et on sentait qu'il y avait une transparence dans l'information qu'ils voulaient nous donner, et une ouverture sur la communauté qui fait vraiment plaisir à voir. Alors la question, est-ce que je vais les acheter ou pas? Eh bien, si mes lunettes actuelles me lâchent, très certainement. Do you mind introducing yourself?
So, my name is Srđan. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Orqa FPV.
Okay. And, well, first question is how everything started. I guess you are a pilot yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we started the end of 2016 as an hardware engineering company called Tensor. And we were building stuff for clients. So mostly hardware engineering. We did electronics, mechanical engineering, firmware. And we were basically hired by people that wanted to make physical products, and we did stuff from built products from PowerPoint to a product stage, or people came to us with a crude prototype, and then we brought it forward, or people came with the product that was already on the market and needed some improvements, changes. So all sorts of engineering work for clients. And at some point we started actually when my co-founder Vlatko, he's been in RC for over 10 years, and one day basically I bought a bunch of tiny drones to fly line of sight, and then it kind of rekindled the RC bug in Vlatko, and then we started putting tiny cameras, making tiny whoops out of them, started buying goggles, and we realized that goggles were quite expensive, and the quality was really, in our mind, not what you were paying for, really. And we figured we can certainly do it cheaper and better. Turns out we were only 50% right. It's really hard to do good cheap goggles, simply because we learned along the way, of course, that panels are micro displays are incredibly expensive, and they might make up a lot of the cost of the goggles. But at some point when we started doing that, we didn't know any of that. So I just came to Vlatko and said, "Do you think we could maybe try to build goggles, our goggles?" And I was, to be honest, I was expecting him to say, "No, forget about it. It's complex. It's a stupid idea." But he said, maybe we could try something. And then we started researching micro displays, optics, started looking at different architectures of the product, and we thought, and it was kind of, we got too far to quit. And we were doing that, so our primary business was really, at those early days, it didn't really seem real. We were kind of doing something, just like engineers, fiddling and playing with stuff.
Like during your free time, you would look around and play with the.
Exactly, yeah, and it was. But at some point, when we got test micro displays from Sony, and Sony wanted to talk to us, and when we got on the first call with the guys in Japan, we were like, okay, this is getting serious. Somebody's taking us seriously, and we weren't taking ourselves seriously at that point. And I guess this was one of those points where we said, okay, we might have something there. So I mean, it was almost by accident. And at this point, we actually, Orqa was founded as a company, was founded end of last year. So it is basically a spin out of our earlier business Tensor. Now it's Orqa is a larger entity than Tensor, than the service business is. So I mean, it's a.
So at that time, you would when did you try to find investors in your project? Was it like very soon, or
no? Actually, well, a lot of the development was bootstrapped. So we have a great engineering team here, and we basically we were funding a lot of that ourselves. But at some point, when we learned what the minimum order quantities are for some of the more expensive components of the product, we realized that we don't have enough cash to just finance that minimum quantity, and we figured that we need to find investors. And we started fundraising, I think early last year, and we closed around. Sometimes we started closed around early this year, and made final financial closes last couple of weeks. And basically, at that financing stage, we kind of reversed the roles. We became primarily a product company and secondarily service company.
And at some point, did you think like we need to start with the small products or maybe cheaper products instead of going to the goggle industry?
You mean products of our own?
I mean receivers, video receivers, or other things like that. Or in your mind, it was goggles and nothing else?
We started with goggles, and we kind of started branching off into other. Also, we started playing with other products, and because we have a great RF design capacity in house, we started designing antennas, FPV P1 patch, which is a great patch antenna, but the idea behind building smaller products, somebody on Facebook said, "Oh yeah, it's a good idea. Try to fund the development of goggles with antennas."
Start slow and then go.
But then it doesn't work like that.
Okay.
You need to invest much more. And at that point, we were still, sustaining our business from the services that we were providing. But starting with smaller products was a good way to get the feel of the channels, how to communicate to the market, and to get the feel of the market itself. It's one thing to be a part of the community, and it's another thing to be to offer products to that community. So we had to start learning about about this FPV market. That's why I say that starting to build these goggles was purely irrational. Normally when you would do a rational project and you think project to build a product, you need to know how big is the market. We didn't have any idea how big is the market. We didn't have any idea how much we can sell.
Of the market.
No, I mean we could get some anecdotal data points. Ask people that were in the market, what do you think, how big is. And it was very, very naive from the business standpoint. It was a stupid idea, stupid business idea.
Before reason, right?
Absolutely, it's like engineering, passion before the business. And we realized when we started fundraising, we realized that we knew that FPV market was tiny in any sense that a VC would view it.
Yep.
And,
or invest in, right?
Yes, and we realized that we can't really raise money on the back of that tiny market, and we started thinking about what else can we do with this technology that is FPV today, and we realized that FPV is unique in that it's really the latency of that video feed is really critical. And when you think about what other applications require that degree of latency, you will have really hard time finding an application that will have higher demands on latency than drone racing, right? So, we thought, okay, technology that can be built, video transmission technology that can be built for this particular application will satisfy any other low latency application, and enable a lot of low latency applications. And we were thinking, okay, what could those applications be? And at some point it dawned to us that, this whole technology stack evolved into something that's not exist at the moment. Would be something that we could call remote reality, which is a technology that would enable you to basically have an immersive experience of a remote real world environment, as opposed to computer generated environments such as in VR. And when you start thinking about that, we got a lot of that when we were building, people perceived us as a company that builds goggles, especially here in Croatia. And a lot of people will say, oh, you're the guys that are building VR goggles. And we were like, no, VR is nothing like FPV, it's completely different. And when you start thinking about it, in order to have this remote reality technology stack, it's not going to be VR technology, because the demands for remote reality are completely different from VR. And the FPV technology of today is more close to what remote reality needs to be in the future than virtual reality is. So we were thinking, if we want to make this remote reality technology a reality, it's better to start from FPV than from VR, and then work towards remote reality. So this is exactly what we did. We started building technology for FPV market and really pushing that boundary in order to enable these remote reality applications of the future. And I think that this is where irrational idea becomes rational. Right. And it doesn't make sense to build a product like FPV1 for FPV market, because FPV market is tiny. But it makes sense to push the envelope in order to enable something else. And really that something else. This is the investment thesis that this company is built on.
So that's maybe the future of Orqa, and the overall business plan is going to like what you say.
Definitely, this is basically we this is how we brand ourselves. We are a company that's developing first-person view and remote reality technology, vision systems for unmanned platforms. This is
So that's a big challenge. But your first challenge is to make a place in the FPV world, and the brand you are competing against is like a very known brand. Probably that's why I chose the name Orqa, I guess.
That was an idea. And we had this blackboard there was filled with names that we didn't like. And Orqa was one of the names that we hated the least, and that's why we opted for it. And the logic behind that, everybody was talking about every new goggles that were going out were like, okay, is this the next? Is this the shark killer? And we were like, okay, let's play on that thing, and let's go for the real apex predator out there. Somewhere along the way, I think we learned to love that brand, and our friends that actually did the branding for us added a new kind of dimension to it. So our brand really, as you can see here, somebody asked me yesterday on the live that we had, what does it represent? This is Orqa in breach. Okay. But it's
very subtle.
It is, and we learned to love the brand and kind of identify with it. So the initial motivation was what you mentioned, but somewhere we will forget it at some point.
But still, your goal is now to make the best goggles available. And what is your strategy to make this? I guess inviting pilots is part of making the brand known and taking a place in the FPV world. and we saw that you have a lot of innovations coming, and it looks like you're trying to put everything that pilots want in these first goggles. We talked about adaptable field of view, adaptable size, video size. What are the main features you want to tell the pilots that they will like?
Yeah. So I mean, when we released the mission behind FPV1 is really the best FPV goggles out there. And that required innovation, irrational innovation at some points, and irrational and business decisions. So this is why we went for this feature-packed form factor. And I think what really what really sets us apart, and this is the best OLED panels out there. It's economically irrational, but it's if you want to be the best, you need to have the best thing out there. And the assumption was, there is a segment of the market that will want to have the most beautiful panels, and why don't we give them that? But also, in order to so DVR is another thing. Why can't we have HD DVR? Why do we need to have our FPV footage is bad to begin with? Why make it even worse in DVR? And
especially when the cameras are getting better.
Yes, and that was another one. And what we were driven by the stuff that community wanted, and we were part of that community, and we were thinking, this is stuff that I want in the goggles. So a lot of the stuff that's in the goggles right now is the stuff that we heard other people want, and that we wanted to have in our goggles. And no compromise. That was the mantra at the time. If we're doing the best goggles, let's go full on. And as a byproduct of that, and this is something I mentioned in the live yesterday, and it occurred to us only recently. As a byproduct of wanting to have all those features, this is, and that's a neglected kind of hidden feature of the goggles, is we have quite a lot of processing power in those goggles at the moment, and this enables us really to add different bells and whistles after we do the launch. So with the firmware updates, we're able to add stuff like a variable FOV. Why don't we scale? And racers don't like this big, nice field of view that we have. 44 is too big for a lot of racers. And we figure, okay, it's just a scaler. We just need to scale down. I mean, it's not just from an engineering standpoint. If my engineers heard me, they would go crazy. But it's really stuff that you do in the firmware.
And it's possible with the OLED, right? That's one thing that was.
Yeah, I mean, OLED when pixels on OLED are black, there's no light emitting out of them, and that's a nice thing about OLED. So if we kind of make a picture smaller, you won't have that washed out black, gray black.
It's same for 4:3 or 16:9 ratio.
Yes. So the native resolution 1280 by 960 is 4:3. But if you go to 720p, you actually get to that 16:9, and it's just killing pixels on top and the bottom of the screen, and you still don't see it. It feels native. There's no this washout black.
And there are other features that are very innovative, like using your mobile phone to stream the video feed.
That's one of the stretch goals that we're gonna have. Is gonna be the Wi-Fi module, and ideally we would want to. So we already have a prototype of a Wi-Fi module. It gives you the connectivity. You can access. You can update firmware with it. You can transfer files through it. The current version that we had does not support streaming because the Wi-Fi radio does not support streaming. But we're working on a version that will allow you to basically stream video to your mobile phone, and then it would be a matter of just enabling this in your app to be able to go live on one of the streaming platforms. So this is something that's out there for us in the technology roadmap.
Yeah,
but
Ivan said also you could talk, like you could connect a microphone to your goggles and then talk at the same time.
That was one of the ideas that we got from our potential users, and we got a lot of these emails with the ideas. And And somebody said, okay, I would love to have a feature where I'm flying and I'm making live commentary, and why? And we're like, okay, stuff that's driving our DVR actually is a camera SoC, which really allows you to get a microphone in, and you will be recording your video from wherever you plug it in from your composite input. And then why don't we have a audio input? Let's see if we can do it. We can do it, and let's do it. So it was those things, and this is actually what also kind of pushed back our development and release, because there was too many of those really cool ideas that we couldn't just not have in the goggles. And from the business standpoint, that's a stupid thing to do. A real businessman would say, no, we're having this. Forget about we don't want a power button. Just stick with this and don't make it complicated. But engineers in us really wanted to have all these things. I mean, we wanted to have these things in stuff that we would fly on.
And you also have all the modules available and compatible with your goggles. How hard was it to convince the module manufacturers to partnership with you? I know there's Immersion RC that is partnering with you for the rapid fire. Was it hard to convince them?
Well, a lot of these things, when we started getting public exposure through social media, we started going to the events and meeting people. So we got in touch with a lot of really great brands that are operating the FPV market, and we learned that a lot of the people that are operating the FPV market are really cool guys that are in that for a hobby itself, and it was very easy to kind of get the common ground and get the common language with brands that we're compatible with. So we wanted to. The idea was to really be able to support. If you're flying on rapid fire, we wanted you to be able to take your rapid fire and just plug it in. If you're flying with True D, just plug it in. If we wanted to be compatible with. You don't need to mod our goggles in order to put in whatever you prefer to fly on. And it wasn't really hard. It was really natural to kind of find a common ground, a common language with these guys.
And what was the biggest challenge you faced while making these goggles?
There was a lot of challenges, but I think one of the largest challenges was to get the optics done. Really. To get not to get the optics done. Once we got the engineering underway, it was smooth sailing. But to figure out how we are going to get the optics done, because optics it was really hard to find optical engineers especially in this part of the world, and it was almost a dying craft, dying art, and we are. At that point, we had in-house people for electronics, for mechanical, for firmware, but you couldn't find an optical engineer anywhere. And even when we started speaking with some service providers, the numbers that they quoted were completely out of this world for us. And it's a rare. Specialty, and it was very expensive, and it's until we found the solve for that, it seemed impossible. That seemed like at some point, and that's why I say it was irrational. We realized that we don't know how we're going to solve this, and there's no solution. But we just kept going on other fronts, just making an irrational decision to forget about that and just keep going on. And at some point, with a few lucky turns, it kind of I shouldn't say resolved it, but it was at that time, if I can go a year and a half or almost 2 years back, it seemed like there's no way we can solve that problem. And at that time, the goggles were really as a side show, a side project. We were doing something completely different. But if I try to think hard, I'm sure that I would find a lot of similar situations, challenges.
But actually, the optical, the results of this work on optics, I think from everybody that tried today was unanimous that it was really clear all the way, especially in the corners, which is not the case in your competitors. I fly like HD2s, and this is something I had to cope with from the beginning, is like having blurry edges, and when putting on the Orqas, that was the main thing that I noticed, is that it's clear all the way and I have the same field of view.
Well, yeah, we wanted to go for a pretty large field of view, but without the blurry edges. And there's limits to what you can do on a half-inch panel on that form factor of an engine, and with spherical optics. But I think we kind of found the sweet spot for doing that without too much geometric aberration, and to have really, we have really beautiful panels, and it would be a shame to have like 30 or 20% of the panel blurry and not to be able to see everything.
So the Kickstarter campaign is starting maybe in an hour, half an hour, I guess.
What time is it? It's 8 o'clock local time.
Yeah. What do you expect from this launch?
So we expect to get to get a feel of the demand. How bad people want this product, and we also expect. We have since we raised finance, we set aside a certain amount of money for working capital to buy material and to release the first batch of goggles. And at some point when we started talking to resellers, we realized that the demand was much higher than what we expected and what the money we set aside. So we figured there's going to be a huge waiting list, and we're going to be able to do just a certain much smaller amount at a time in each cycle than the market is really seems to want. And we figured, okay, if we work with the pricing, so we offer a better price to people that are willing to wait a bit more. Maybe we could take add the money that we already have for batch, and then add some Kickstarter money and have a larger cycle and be able to satisfy the demand much quicker than we would normally do with what we've normally planned.
So maybe customers will be concerned with the durability, which is one major point of your competitor. How would you address this problem to people willing to invest in the Kickstarter campaign?
So you mean durability of the product?
Yeah, like we own fat sharks, and we know that they can last for many years. This is something that we don't know yet from Orqa.
Sure.
So how would you address that to possible buyers?
Yeah, by far the most expensive part in the goggles is the panel, is the OLED panel, and that's why we didn't go for a no-name brand. We went for a household name, Sony panels. OLED panels have a long durability, very long durability today, and I think that if it turns out that any other component, something's wrong, we can easily fix that. And from the panels, we really expect top performance. So we're not concerned about that. And if you look at other major components and major well, if you take out panels, everything else is cheap there. But just looking at other components aside from panels. Really the major chips are coming from tried and tested brands and stuff that's being used in automotive. Our video chip is automotive, typically used in automotive. Our receivers, HDMI receivers, are also coming from a very known brand. So all the major components on their FPGA is really top quality stuff.
Well, I don't have any more questions. If you have something else you want to maybe address for the French community.
A couple of weeks ago, we were for the first time in Paris. I was for the first time in Paris at Vivatech.
Yes.
We were there as guests, invited by Vinci, a big French company. and we had an opportunity to meet a lot of the French pilots, and I didn't realize that you guys have such a great community there, and we actually had a really cool session with a great group of French pilots outside of Paris. Yes, and we realized that it's a great community that we should have tapped much sooner. So I'm really happy that we're having this conversation, and I'm hoping that we're going to be. We were involved in organizing a race event here in Osijek. And we really loved the energy that we had a great party here outside afterwards, and really liked that energy and people coming from all over Europe. So I'm hoping that we will have an opportunity to engage more closely with the French FPV community, with the help of you guys as well. And yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, and we wish you all the best for Orqa.
Thank you.